Okay. So I just turned the recording on. We record the session so that anybody who doesn't join us or isn't joining us can get the replay. So the recording has started. Welcome to Girl Get That Money, a short workshop on grants, on all things grants. And we have a lot to get through. It's jam-packed with information that I want to give you, and it's really practical things. So this series of workshops, we started earlier this month with doing a series of short workshops, all of them an hour roughly of time, so that we could give women entrepreneurs, specifically women of color entrepreneurs, information on how to grow their businesses and how to get multiple streams of income in your business. And so that's what all of these workshops are about. We're doing 2 per month until the end of the year. So just stay up. Once you get on our list, we'll let you know what the other topics will be, but they're all ways for you to infuse money and infuse funding into your business, because we know that's the lifeblood of a business. It's all about making money. It's all about generating cash flow. And so there are multiple ways for us to get that done. And the way we're going to talk about today is through grants. So it's one of those things, and I'll talk about the myths, but a lot of people believe that because we have for-profit businesses, that we can't get grants, that we can't play the grant game, that it's not available to us. And that's totally not true. And definitely, it's really exploded right now over the last like year and a half to 2 years. But I don't foresee that changing. It was there before now. It's just become something that a lot more people know about now, as opposed to people not knowing before. So our theme song for today and for this workshop, and I've gotten into this thing of choosing theme songs. And so the theme song for this one is Money Everywhere. And that song, we played it at the beginning if you were on. If not, you got to go to YouTube and check it out. But it's a great song where two young ladies who have done really great things in the music industry, Chloe and Halle, and also in the movie industry as well, have created this song about having money everywhere and that's falling from the trees. And we know that growing up as kids, especially as Black women, we were always told money don't grow on trees. And so that's why I love this song, because it's like, and they're like, nope, it really does. Like, I got money everywhere falling from the trees. So it's everywhere. And so when you think about grants, money is all around us, free money. And that's the thing. It's like, it's not something you have to necessarily sell in your business. The only thing you have to do to get grants is sell your business, is sell your dreams, sell who you are, sell what you do to people who have an interest in giving you money to help you do what you do. And so that's it. So it's not really necessarily about your product per se, but it is much more about what it is that you do, and can you help people to understand what it is that you do and how you do what you do, and the value in what it is that you provide, whether it's a service or whether it is a product. So again, everything that we do is both for service-based businesses and for product-based businesses. So the name of the song is in the chat. The other thing in the chat that I want to make sure that you do is to drop in the name of your business. So definitely we should all get in the habit of promoting our business and who we are and what it is that we do, even if it's not an established business yet. So don't think that if it's not something that you've established yet, that you can't put it in the chat. Put in the service that you provide, put in the product that you want to create in the chat. So everyone here should not leave without having that business in the chat. And so even for us, Good Karma Enterprises is all about, we do two things. We have an educational training and consulting side that focuses on organizations that are educational organizations. So focusing on schools, nonprofits, youth development organizations, those kinds of organizations, and helping them build their capacity in different ways. And then we have the business training and consulting side, where we look at small businesses, individual entrepreneurs, and people who want to be entrepreneurs. And we provide workshops for them to be able to grow their business or create a business, develop a business, and then of course, scale a business if you already have a business that's in place. So that's who we are. And I'm sure Wendy's going to throw that in the chat as well, so that we're represented as well. So we have, and at the end, we'll talk a little bit about the services that we offer, but we definitely, our whole goal is to uplift everyone, our business, but also yours. So again, you know, last week when we did the other workshop for this month, we had a young lady that was on that was, she calls herself the finance lady, and her whole thing is helping you with finances in your business. And so I was like, definitely we will, you know, put that out there and let you know. So whether it's wellness related things, whether it's properties, I have, you know, we have a lot of people in our circle that are doing things with real estate investing and properties. And one of the things that I definitely want to do in 2022 is have some of us partner up with the property piece, because again, leveraging each other and getting into projects together is one of those things that's always going to help us to up level our businesses. So definitely make sure you put that in the chat. And then I am going to start sharing my screen.
Tanya, before you share the screen, can you say again what Good Karma does? I heard you say it's educational.
Yes, so we have.
I'm sorry, before you speak on that, Tanya, can you please make me admin, because when you share, you may not be able to get.
Oh, I thought I already did. Could you not see it? I believe, hold on, let me see. Yeah, I made you co-host.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so you should be good. All right.
Thank you.
So yes, so Good Karma Enterprises, we have sort of two divisions of what we do. So it's all training and consulting, and then providing products around the areas that we train and consult in. So there's either the educational training and consulting that we do, where we go into schools, we go into nonprofit organizations, youth development organizations, and we will help them. Right now, the biggest thing that we're helping them do is around employee wellness. And so we come in and we do everything from workshops on stress management, on dealing with your emotions, dealing with difficult parents, helping kids with their emotions, really the sort of bouncing back and recovering from all of the trauma and whatnot that we've been through with COVID. So we work with educational organizations around those kinds of things. And then on the other side of the company, it's still training and consulting, but we work with entrepreneurs, the small businesses, and then just individuals who want to get into entrepreneurship around all things business development. And so we will help you with everything from writing up business plans to writing grants themselves, to finding and researching and getting the grants, to developing the foundational pieces of your business, because that's one of the things that keeps us a lot of time from getting the money and getting the funding, is that we haven't really built a solid foundation. And we're going to talk about that as we get into looking at the grants, that some of them you may look at it and say, oh, I'm not eligible for that. And it's because you don't have all the foundational pieces together, but that's a part of the process. It's a part of all of us growing. And so, looking at, we help you kind of assess your business and see what pieces am I missing? What extra things do I need to add in? So it's not a negative that you don't have a certain thing. I'm always adding pieces to our business too. There are pieces where I'll figure out, oh, I need this extra, license or certification or something else. And so you just add those things and keep building. So we look at, you building your business almost like building a house or a store. You're adding pieces to it as you're scaling up the business. We all started out with just one thing. We either went and got that one little LLC and we had our paper and we were excited and, we got started. Or you started out as a sole proprietorship and you got your paper for that. But then it's like, that's just the beginning. That's step one. And so it's all of these things that you got to add on to it. And so that's what we really specialize on the business development side, is really helping you to look at your business structure, how you have it set up. And then, okay, how can I now take what I do, either what I make, what I sell, service I provide, and then infuse multiple streams of income into that. So we've been trying to look at branding and stuff for the business side, and it just popped into me. But I think, Wendy, that one of the things I want us to explore business-wise for branding is multiple streams queens, because that's kind of who we are. We are sort of the
Absolutely.
multiple streams queens, because our businesses don't survive because sometimes, or most times, we have like one source of income. And it's like, if that source gets cut, then you're dead. It's over, you know, and you're struggling. And so, but if it's very much, we look at our company like the center is like an ocean, and we have all these streams that flow into it. And sometimes people look at it and say, y'all doing a lot, you're doing the most. But if it makes sense and it connects to our business, then we have those multiple streams, because for sure, you found out during COVID, if one of those streams gets cut off, you've got to have some other life going to that business in order to keep it going. And so that, you know,
Do
is
you all have
probably,
more than one LLC or just one LLC for the enterprise?
so we have one LLC for the enterprise, and then we have a couple of different DBAs. So we have a couple of different, you know, doing business as, because the school portion has like its own name. And so it's called the Center for Social and Emotional Wellness. And so that piece kind of, you know, is separate from the Good Karma side of things.
Then we have Good Karma Funding.
Right. So we have like some brand names. So that's the way,
Good Karma
in all of my years of
Design.
sort of doing it and setting it up, I know a lot of people are proponents of get 3, 4, 5, 6 LLCs. But that's a lot to manage. And I think for us, a lot of times, like, we do those kinds of things, but it's like, now you got to keep paperwork up for 3 or 4, 5 LLCs, which is a lot. But, you know, if you take it and do one umbrella corporation, and then you have underneath it those brands or business names, that's the way I always say, you know, to people to start it out, because it's a lot less complex. And so, again, we have Good Karma Publishing as a brand. We got the Center for Social and Emotional Wellness as a brand. We have Good Karma Funding as a brand. So
Good Karma Designs.
Right, designs. Wendy does graphic design stuff. So that's how we've built it up. But we are going to do an offshoot of a nonprofit. So we've grown enough to now we're ready to kind of play around in the nonprofit space again. And so we're going to do a separate nonprofit for like the social enterprise things that we want to do.
Awesome.
But those are the conversations that, you know, I would love for us to continue to have together as Black women, because one of the things is, you know, what I've realized through my journey is you don't know what you don't know. And I'm
That's
always
true.
out there looking and learning and, you know, and trying stuff. And again, sometimes you try stuff and it doesn't work out very well for you. But if we're sharing with each other, then, you know, we can share that and we can say, okay, you know, I tried setting it up this way, but it didn't work really well for me. You might want to try this. And I think, you know, it helps us out a lot if we learn from each other. All right, so can you see my screen? Make sure.
Yes.
Okay, we are good to go then. So we are ready to start. Let me make sure. All right, so getting into grant money. So there are lots of ways, again, multiple streams, for you to be able to get that grant money that you are looking for your business. So I wanted to start out just by talking about the different types of grants that are out there. And so I put them into 5 neat little categories for you, so you can know when you're looking at like what type of grant it is. So at the very top of the pyramid, the first set of grants are what I call contests. So they are shorter grants that are out there where individual people will come up, and sometimes companies will come up and they'll say, oh, we have this $500 grant, we have this $2,500 grant that we're offering to a certain type of company. So they have had them out for all kinds of companies, for, you know, to help out food truck companies, to help out, sometimes you'll see them for specific industries like the beauty industry. And they'll have grants that or contests where people will say, sign up. And sometimes you'll see it where it's not even a lot of stuff you got to put about your business with these contests. It's just like, if you can sign up for a chance to win X, Y, and Z. So a chance to win this $500 grant or a chance to win this $500. Sometimes they call them scholarships or gifts or that type of thing. So you have those quick little contests. Others, you do have to put in some information about your business. They may ask you what the name of your business is. Is it a business that, what's your structure? Is it a sole proprietorship? Is it an LLC? What type of business it is? And then they'll ask you, maybe just a brief description of what's your business about. Do you sell a product? Do you sell a particular service? What's that product and service? And what would you use this money for if you were to win this money? So the contest piece, again, it's the smallest piece of the pie. The amounts tend to be quite a bit lower for those. And it depends on how well publicized it is. It might be a lot of competition for it. It might not. But it never hurts to kind of throw your name in, but it's the easiest one to apply for because usually you can apply for those contests in a matter of minutes. So they don't take very long. And I'm going to show you one as we get to the walkthrough part. We're going to walk through almost at all levels, except for probably the federal level. So for the second level, you have corporate grants. So corporate grants have been around forever. Corporations, big business, when you think about companies like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Amazon, Target, Walmart, all of these large corporations have money that they will donate back to their community in some way, shape, or form. And so you may see like Walmart community grants, Target community grants, those kinds of things. Well, right now in the era that we're in, because of COVID, a lot of the big corporations, because they saw the struggle of the everyday ordinary person and the small and medium-sized business, then they all sort of came out to say, okay, we want to show our support during COVID. And so we're going to, even if it was something they really didn't do in the past for-profit companies, they've decided that they're going to set aside some of their money, some of the major billions of dollars worth of profit that they get every year off of us. And they're going to start these smaller community grants for small businesses. And so they're set up specifically for small businesses. We're going to run through a couple of them, and I'm going to give you a list of about 11 or 12 grants that I found just over the last couple of days, ones that are right now available. And a couple of those are from corporations. So you'll look at one of the ones that we're going to talk about is from LegalZoom. A lot of us use LegalZoom. LegalZoom makes a lot of money off of us. So now they've partnered up with the NBA and they've decided that they want to put out a grant to help build back small businesses. So it's our time right now. And I want to impress upon you the most, now is our time, especially if you are a minority-owned business, if you're a woman-owned business, and particularly a Black woman-owned business, because a lot of companies, a lot of organizations are seeking to support us. And I say this all the time in the trainings that for Black women-owned businesses, we are the fastest growing sector of business, but we are the least well-funded sector of business. And so a lot of people have recognized that and they're seeking to change that. So we've got to take advantage of all this money that's out there for us. So the third level is foundation grants. So private foundations, community foundations, they give money to nonprofits, but they also give money to for-profits. And really, they have an area that's connected to their mission, something that they're passionate about, and then they want to put their foundation dollars towards those things that they're passionate about. So this is a pot of money. Foundation money has been around forever as well. The thing that people just don't always realize is that they will grant some foundation money towards small businesses and for-profit entities. You just have to look through and make sure. So don't dismiss all the foundation grants because you think that you're not eligible as a for-profit business, because we've gotten that money. The fourth level is your local and state grants. So especially now, because of President Biden's Build Back Better initiative, then he has pushed what, $2 to $5 billion, somewhere along in there, down to the states, and the states are pushing it down to the local counties to give money to small businesses to help them build back. So one of the things that they've recognized for here in the US is that You think everything is about the major corporations, but really the foundation of our economy comes from a lot of little small businesses that are running, that are kind of helping this machine, do what it does and keep our economy going. So they recognize that and they are pushing money towards that. So you got to have your ears out for local, county and state grants that are coming up. One that I definitely want to, if you know anybody who is in child care, that you do at-home daycare, you have a child development center, they just pushed down a couple of $2 billion to all of the states. So they divided it up, but each state got millions of dollars to help people who are in the child care business, because it was really hurt, because of the amount of time that they had to stay out of business. So those grants are coming out now. It's all state grants and local county grants. So you got to make sure you check your Department of State website to find information about when those grants are coming through and other things that might be coming through. And then the biggest pot at the bottom is federal grants. And so those are grants that come directly from the federal government for you to be able to do what you do as an entrepreneur. The federal government is going to be putting out a lot of grants here coming up to help entrepreneurship, to help small businesses. And so most of the time those come through the SBA. So check out the SBA and other places, other federal programs. Department of Labor is probably going to be coming out with some soon, but there are federal grants. And again, it's a big pot. You usually get large chunks of money. So for example, we just, this one that we just applied for is kind of a state, it's a state grant, but it comes from federal money. And it's in DC because we are registered to do business in the district, and we do a lot of our educational consulting there with schools. And so they have a grant to work with their schools around educator wellness and helping educators sort of bounce back from all that's happened with COVID-19. And we applied for it, and it's between $100,000 and a $500,000 grant. And so, I was up all night on Thursday, on Thursday, getting it done so that we could submit and be a part of that particular grant. And so there are other grants that we have gotten that are like $100,000, $150,000 from that state and federal grant level, all as a for-profit organization. So that money is there, it's available. You just have to know how to tap into it and access it. So the myths, I want to cover a few myths about grants, and I've talked about probably most of these already. One of the myths is that you have to be a nonprofit to get grants. Totally not true. You can get grants as a for-profit organization. We do it all the time. The second thing is new businesses can't apply. That's not true either. Right now, there are startup grants that are out there. So some people are saying we want to help people innovate and start businesses now. So you have to be on the lookout for those, and you can do some Google searches and those kinds of things too for startup grants. Another myth is that you have to be an LLC or you have to have an LLC. That's not true. There are a lot of grants that come out that say you can be a sole proprietorship. Some of them say you can't, but not all of them. So you just have to read through what the qualifications are. The next myth is that you have to get a grant writer to write a grant. Today, we're going to walk through a couple. You can get another device out, phone, another computer, whatever, and you can, if you have your business information, you can type it in right now and apply for some of these grants. So again, on that pyramid, some of the easier ones at the top, you don't need a grant writer for. Now, federal grants, the one I just wrote 2 days ago, it's more lengthy. There's a lot of attachments. There are things that you got to turn in. So you might want some training of some sort. But my thing is on the job training. Once you do a few easier ones, you start to collect information, then you have information that you need to be able to apply for grants. So right out the box, you don't need a grant writer. Another myth is you need a complicated business plan to be able to apply for grants. That's not true. You don't. A lot of times they don't even ask you for a business plan. The one I just submitted, they don't care what our business. They want to know, can you fulfill this project? Because usually federal grants are all about doing a certain project, fulfilling a certain thing. So you've got to know what your plan is for doing that. Now you need to have some kind of business plan, and it doesn't have to be complicated. For organizations, I always suggest when you start out, one-page business plan. And we're doing some uploading of things in the Black Women Entrepreneurs Academy, but that's one of the things we're going to be putting up there is just a template for a one-page business plan so that you can just fill out the basics for yourself. So another myth, there are no grants for your type of business. Not true. You just have to look for specific grants for whatever industry it is that you're in. And so some of them are very industry specific, and then some of them are very general, and they just want to support you as an entrepreneur. Next one, you need to be making money in your business in order to apply for a grant. That's not true either. Some grants will ask you for your financials, so they want to see what the business is like and if you've been making money. Others don't ask for those things at all. And so you never have to really share what the financials are. The next one is if you don't get the first grant that you apply for, you won't get any of them. Now, what you have to realize is in the grant game, if this is a part of what you want to have as a stream of income for your business, then there are going to be times when you're going to get turned down. There are going to be times when people are going to say no, or you don't get it. But it's also a numbers game with everything else, because you're not the only person that's applying. Then you have to apply for multiple grants. So don't just apply for one and say, oh, I never got that one, so that doesn't work. You have to make sure, I was speaking to a young lady the other day, and she said she applied for like 20 grants during 2020, and she ended up getting 2 of them. And then one of them, she didn't get the grant itself, but they actually offered her assistance in some other way. So the other thing is when you apply for these grants and things like this, it helps you to get your name out there. It helps people to know who you are, what it is that you do. And then they may be able to assist you, or they may pass your name on, someplace else. So don't be afraid to try, multiple times. You have to sort of make this a part of your business, of what you do on a week-to-week basis with your business. And then the last myth is you can apply anytime. Oh, I see it today, like the ones that I'm going to give you today. All of those grants are due probably within the next week to, I tried to give you a longer list. So within the next week to like 3 weeks by the end of this month. But some of them are actually due in a couple of days. So you can't wait forever to apply. You can't sit on it. And I've lost out sometime, I think, on money when I'm like, oh, I'll do that. I'll do it next week. And then next week rolls around, our time flies by. And then I realize, oh, shoot, the deadline was yesterday and I missed it. So you got to really get on it. The thing with grants is they usually give you a very short window to apply. So once they release it, most of them, they only give you a week to 2 weeks, and then it closes. So you've got to make sure. Sometimes it's even faster than that. So if you see one, and if that's one that you feel like you're eligible for and you're interested in, you got to go ahead and get with it and go ahead and make that application so you don't miss out. So you can't wait to apply. All right, so must-dos, things that now kind of the myths, and we've gotten that stuff out of the way. Now it's like, what things do I need to start doing if I haven't done these things already to get myself positioned to be able to get some of this money? So one of the things is you got to know your business. You have to know the information about your business. So what's your mission? What do you do? You should always have like a couple of sentence blurb about your business and who you are and what you do, because you're going to need to put that into all of these applications. So if you haven't written it down somewhere, just get a Word document and write it down real easily so that you can know what it is and be able to copy and paste it over easily. Have an EIN number. If you don't have one already, it's free from the IRS, so you should get one. Know your numbers as far as your business is concerned. If you've been in business for a year or more, then have some kind of software that you're using to track your financials. So whether it is Wave accounting software, QuickBooks, FreshBooks, somebody. But and we have in the Black Women Entrepreneurs Academy, we have some list of ones that we've tried out in the past or that we currently use. We currently use QuickBooks, but I've tried Waze and I've tried FreshBooks. So, you know, examples, and we usually don't give you things that we haven't tried ourselves at some point in our business, or we have a business partner who has tried and has given us firsthand information about it. So have some way to track your, you know, business information. The next thing is read through the grant information thoroughly. So, and we're going to go to their websites and we're going to look at them and we're going to read through, and I'm going to show you again the things to look for. Because first you got to make sure that you're eligible for it, because don't waste your time applying for something that you're not eligible for. So you got to read through thoroughly, see, do you have all the things that they're asking for first before you apply? If you don't have those things, the next question you ask yourself is, can I get these things right quick? That happens to us all the time when we apply for things. It's always something new that, you know, I need to get it. I'm like, how fast can I get this thing in order for us to be eligible to apply for this particular pot of money? The next thing you have to do is complete all the steps. Don't leave anything blank. If they ask a question, then answer it. Answer it to the best of your ability, but don't leave things blank on your application, because that's a quick thing to kind of get you thrown out before they even really read and know what it is that you do. Follow the directions exactly as they're put in. Don't, you know, flex it. Don't say, oh, well, they don't really need all this. No, if they ask for it, that's what they want. And so make sure you follow all the directions. Be consistent with the information you provide across each grant application. So don't make up like one version of your business description for one thing and then you use a different version and another version, and you can't remember what you've put. I've worked with people on grants where they've, you know, done a grant and they're like, I don't really remember what I put as the amount of revenue I make every month or every year. I'm like, what you mean you don't remember what do you either know or you don't know how much money your business made? So again, don't like fake numbers and things like that. Put in actual numbers, and don't think that if it's a small amount that that's going to cut you out, because sometimes they will give it to people who aren't making a lot of money because they want to help you make more money. So so just, you know, be consistent across the board. Consistently apply. My, you know, thing that I always say is you have to play to win. It's like the lotto. If you never played the lotto, then you can't be mad when people win the Mega Millions and the Powerball and all that kind of stuff. It's the same thing with this. You can't be mad if you see somebody, some other sister that you know, they got a grant for something if you didn't apply. So you have to apply to win. They won't know you. They won't know anything about you if you don't actually tell them and apply. And then the last thing is don't give up. Again, if you don't get a couple, don't give up, keep applying, because it's a law of averages that kicks in too. With the more you apply, the more likely of a chance you have to get, and the better you get at it. So the more of these grants you do, the better skill you have of being able to apply. When I got up from this desk at, you know, it was early in the morning here, from that grant, I knew we had that grant. I knew we had that grant because it's exactly what we do. We've been doing it for 5 years. There was no other organizations that I knew of that cared anything about teacher wellness or educator wellness, but it was my personal passion. We spent 5 years crafting a serious program that schools can take and use. And so now that this grant has finally come out because of COVID, they care about it. I got up knowing, oh, that's ours. We might, you know, that $500,000, they might split it amongst organizations, and that's cool, but we're going to be one of them. So we're going to get at least $100,000 from that grant. So, but that's only because I've been doing enough grants that I realized, you know, I know how to put in our information. I know how to craft a story that will be compelling for them to want to choose us as the person. And I know that that's a service, you know, that we do and we do really well. All right, so questions. I'm gonna pause for a second before we get to our hot grant list and start going to these sites and showing you how you can apply. Any questions about either the myths or the things that you must do?
Unshare your screen for questions.
Okay, hold on one second. Okay.
My question is, are we gonna get them? Or are we to try to remember what's on the list, or are you all gonna drop them
Mhm. So all of the above. You don't have to remember, that's for sure.
Okay.
So we are going to give you the list. So I am going to give it to you right now. So you can do it a couple of ways. So let me make sure I remember Hot Grants 21. Okay, because it was on that slide that I just stopped showing. So I'm going to drop it in the chat. So grants list.
And this is good information.
Thank
Really,
you.
really good.
Thank you. So I compiled the list that we're going to look at today, and I think it actually has more than what's on the slide because I can only put so much on there. So there's about 12 grants that are currently open that we can all apply for. So the grants list is located at bit.ly/hotgrants21. So that's the bit.ly link for it that you can go, and then you'll get the list that you can download from our Google Drive. So you have it in the chat. I just dropped it in the chat. It's going to be at the top of the slide that I'm getting ready to show. And so it'll have the links for all these grants. So the whole purpose of this was so that you don't have to go out and research the grants. So when I do workshops, my whole idea or my whole concept is that I want to really give you information, practical information you can use. So yes, I gave you, the concepts of this, but now we're actually going to do it together. So you leave here with some comfort around, I can really do this. And some of these are really as easy as she says they are. And then others, we're going to look at some that's a lot of questions. It's like one that's 54 questions. So today in an hour, we don't have enough time, but I'm going to walk through enough of that one so that when you look at it with me now, you can say, oh, well, this is what I need to go do. This is another thing I need to go do. So again, it's a long game. It's a long-term process for all of us to get the things together that we need. So any more questions before we share the list of hot grants? All right, so let's go back over. Where is it? Okay, so we have a list here. And again, there's the bit.ly link at the top where you can go over and get the list for yourself of these hot grants. And I pretty much rank them from like super easy all the way down to most complicated, and that's going to require a little bit more from you. So the first one, the HerRise micro grant. Micro grants are always great because it's micro for a couple of reasons. Micro because it doesn't take a lot of information for you to fill it out, and also micro because it's usually a small amount of money. But they are great grants to really get you started in sort of the grant writing business. Because they're easy to do, and it helps you to start to begin to collect the money or the information that you need to be able to do the grant and get the money. So that is one of my favorites. So the HerRise micro grant we're going to fill out together. I Fund Women of Color is an organization that's cropped up over the last couple of years. And they really do a lot of grant making for different kinds of grants for women entrepreneurs. So it's a great one to look at on the foundation level, because I believe they are 501c3 that's doing this grant making. When we talked about corporate grants, so I don't know how many of you ladies on use, and I think it's Miele Organics. So they are a hair care company, right? Black hair care company, but they've come out and they have decided, listen, we need to help other Black women entrepreneurs in their small businesses. And so Miele Hair Care has a Miele Organics grant that we're going to look at. It's pretty simple. They got one little extra caveat that we're going to talk about as we fill theirs out. And it's something that a lot of corporations are doing now that wasn't a part of the grant role before, but it's easy to fill out. So that's one from a corporation that's going to help you. Tory Burch Foundation, and I believe that's a corporation as well. and they have a grant and a fellowship. So they not only give you a grant, but they also want to help you with some of your business building activities. And so that's why they're calling it a fellowship too. The Emma Johnson Single Mothers Grant. This one is one of my favorites because it's small, but it's a woman who she was a single mother. She realized that single mothers need help at times because you're trying to raise your kids. And so it's one of the easiest ones I know of. If you're a single mother, you can fill out the information, hit the submit, and every single month she does a $500 grant to help a single mother. And it doesn't require a whole lot for you to be able to do it. The Giving Joy grant is another one that's really easy. And then these last three are ones where they're going to take a little bit more information about your business. So the Project Entrepreneur UBS grant is a great one, but you're going to have to make sure you get some information together about your business. And then the last one I mentioned earlier, it's the LegalZoom and the MBA's grant that just came out, Fast Break for Small Businesses. And they want information about your financials. So you're going to have to, get a profit and loss statement. You're going to have some other things in line in order to be able to do theirs. So let me switch over. I'm going to stop this share and switch to another one right quick so we can get to doing some applications.
So Tashi?
Yes.
So when Tanya goes over the single mother grant, you should fill that one out. When we did this, the end of 2020, 4 of the ladies that were on in the group, they received the grant.
Okay. Awesome.
All right.
Okay, sounds good.
And I never, again, with that one, I was like, who'd have thought, that it could be that simple. But they really do just look for, it's all about your story, and you saying whatever you would use the money for, however you can enhance your life, your family's life, that type of thing with that money. So here's the first one. Make sure you can see my screen. It's the Her Rise Micro Grant. And so this one is they provide micro grants to women of color entrepreneurs. They've been doing it since 2017 as a way to assist them in starting or growing your business. So if you're a startup, this applies to you. If you already have a business and you're seeking to grow it, it applies to you. So, and they do every month too. And that's one of the reasons why I like these micro grants is when you get the bigger grants, sometimes they're doing one grant and they're doing it once a year. They might do it twice a year, and there's one grant that they have to give out, but they got like 50,000 people who are applying for this one grant. With the micro grants, they tend to break them up into smaller pieces, but they do it several times a year, either monthly or quarterly, so that you have more opportunities to be able to get it. So it exists to provide financial aid to women of color that are often unable to secure funding for their small business. Each month, $500 micro grant is awarded to a small business. So here's what you want to look for to qualify. That's the important piece. What do I need to do to qualify? So your business has to be 51% owned by a woman of color. So we have that, check that off. Business is currently registered in the US. So it doesn't say what state, doesn't matter what state, but it just, your business has to be registered somewhere in the US. Nonprofits, franchise, direct seller, authorized resellers, or independent consultants are not eligible for this. So again, and we had last time there was someone on the workshop that was asking about, if you're doing multi-level marketing and that kind of thing, sometimes they'll be specific to say, nope, if you're an independent consultant, which is like a multi-level marketing consultant, then they, say that you're not eligible. Priority will be given to Her Sweet Spot members. So again, they want to get your information. So they want you to register for Her Sweet Spot. So make sure you register. It's just a matter of giving your information and your email. They're going to, of course, put you on their email list and send you information. If that gives you priority, anytime you see that where it says priority is given, oh, I'm always filling out that part. I'm always doing whatever that is, because I know it's going to cut me out. So let's say they get 10,000 people who, register for this, but only 800 of them wanted to give out their email address to get on their list. then now they've narrowed it down to those 800. So my odds are much better with me and 800 or 799 other people, as opposed to me and 10,000 other people. So then that's it. That's all the requirements that they have. So you go to the bottom and then it says it takes 7 minutes to fill it out. And so, it's as easy as this for some of these forms. So you just answer the question, is your business 51% owned? You say yes, and you move to the next question. About the founder, so they want to know information about the founder. So then it's like, what's your name? So I'm just gonna put in my name. Okay. Oh, see, and then and the thing is, so here's a lesson. It says about the founder, and it said first name. I was typing fast, and I put in first and last name. So now I can't go back. So now I just got to put my last name in again. And don't be in a hurry to do these, because again, you don't, especially if they don't allow you to go back. So tell us your email address. So I'm gonna put in Tanya, Gmail. Street address, and it auto-populated for me. I'm going to use our Baltimore address, state, zip code, phone number, business title. So I'm just going to say CEO. Then they want to know your gender. You can say you'd rather not say if that's your choice, but at least they give you that as a choice. How do you identify? This has become a popular question on most things now. So Black, African American. Other than your business, are you currently employed? So, and sometimes they ask these questions because they want to know, are you working full-time in this business or are you working part-time in the business? So just answer it for whatever it is. No. Are you a member of her? So again, here's this question again. So they're giving you two opportunities. They gave it to me in the beginning and now they're doing it again. So they're like, listen, registration is free. You need to go in and register. So because I'm not going to actually click submit, because I'm going to go back and do ours properly, then I'm going to say, just say yes. And then it's a section about the business. So what's your business name? And with the business name, make sure don't do like abbreviated versions of your business name. Whatever your legal business name is, make sure you write it that same way. A lot of times people will go and then to your State Department and look up your business to see if it's in good standing. They won't be able to find it. So if I just put Good Karma, but our business name is registered as Good Karma Enterprises LLC, they may not be able to find it if it's just Good Karma. So make sure you write it exactly as it is so that they can find you. So business address, we'll put the same thing. City, state, zip code. So same information, and then they ask you, what's your business formation? So what are you? So we are limited liability company. So website, if you don't have a business website, even if you just get a one-page website, so you don't necessarily have anything to sell and those kinds of things on your website, you can still get a simple one-page website. And if you need assistance with that, we can connect you with, oh, and see, I spelled something, oh, because it's on here twice. They're like, nope, that's not a valid website. Ooh, 2 P's. So they help you out. Business email. Actually, I'm gonna put, okay. Business description. So remember I said you should have a couple of sentence blurbs. So describe your product or service and what problem your business solves. And I'm just gonna do uh, so there you go. So 2 sentences. It doesn't have to be forever. I just say Good Karma Enterprises provides training and consulting services to new entrepreneurs and small businesses. We help small businesses build a profitable business and structure themselves to receive funding. That's it. 2 sentences. They know what it is. They know what we do. And then you're on to the next one. So what industry, and I love this, what industry do you dominate? So they're assuming that you dominate a particular industry. So did I see consulting? And you have lots to choose from. So sometimes if you don't see specifically, so again, agriculture, arts, beauty, business services. So with us, because we have 2 divisions, I could choose business services, or I could have chosen education and learning. I chose business services because I gave them the description of the entrepreneurship and business development side. So now they want to know, are you a nonprofit? No, we're not a nonprofit. Are you a franchise business, direct seller, authorized reseller? So remember, they already told you that you weren't going to be eligible if you were one of those. So now this is going to be one of those questions to knock you out automatically from the system. How many years have you been in business or selling your product and service? Ours is 6 to 10 years. How many employees do you have? So if it's just you could say just you. If it's more than you, then you could say more than you. So what's your annual sales revenue for 2019? So they want to go all the way back to 2019, not last year for 2020. So you pick whatever it was, if it's under 25K, if it's over 100K. What's the primary way that you will use this grant to help your business? So remember, I told you this, and this time you can make between 1 and 3 choices. So they don't necessarily want you to type it in. They want to just give you categories to choose from. So will you use it to pay for business location rent? Will you put this towards inventory, upgrade or enhance your website? So you could create a website if you don't have one or one that you like. Create an online store, pay your sales tax, which is nice because most of them don't want you to use it to pay sales tax or any kind of taxes. Marketing and advertising, staff payroll, paying yourself and other. So for this, I'll say marketing and advertising. So, and again, because we can choose up to 3, then I could say, I mean, it's $500. So it's like, how much are you going to really use it for? So maybe to upgrade or enhance our website. So we'll go with those 2. Anything else you want to tell us about your need for the grant? This is your chance to tell your story. This is your chance to sell them on you. So in this box, you can put whatever you want them to know about what it is that you do and why it's important for you to get this particular grant money. And so I'm going to ask, is there anybody what do you think would be something that you would want to put in this box that could be compelling?
I mean, I think in you all's case, the work that you do with educators is, off the chain, right? You are, enhancing their health and wellness, helping with, this fatigue that they're experiencing, trauma basically
Mhm.
that they're experiencing in the classroom, or virtually. I'm an educator, so that's why I can relate heavily with that, right? I'm not in a
Absolutely.
classroom right now, but even as an educator, listening to, I work in sales now, and just the conversations. I mean, I feel like I'm a counselor every day when I'm, even pushing product, if you will, working with them. So to have a space that they can go to safely unload, I think is amazing.
Okay. And that's definitely true. If I had geared this one towards that side, for sure. And
Oh yeah.
I'm still gonna take what you said, and do the same thing with the with this side of us, with helping new entrepreneurs, because it's just
Okay.
as stressful. People get into entrepreneurship and they think it's a cakewalk and it's going to be so easy. I don't know how many stressed out entrepreneurs I know. Because again, like it can really, people, a lot of entrepreneurs are suffering from mental health issues with depression and anxiety and that kind of stuff, because they've put all their eggs sort of in this one basket of saying, I have faith in myself that I can do this thing. And then when you hit up against different roadblocks, a lot of times that causes people to have some, and especially if you don't have people around you who are cheering you on and supporting you, or if you're trying to support a family, like, when you had that regular paycheck, you were fairly secure if you thought so, that you were going to get that paycheck to be able to pay your rent and support your family. But when you jump out into entrepreneurship, it's all dependent upon you, and that can be a very stressful thing. So
Absolutely.
I'm going to say that, we have a deep desire to not only
Go
help.
back and get desire on there. It doesn't have a spell thing. You got desire spell wrong.
Oh, you're
That's a
right.
typo.
Yep. And now I got two S's.
Dessert. They look like he's going to dessert.
Right. To not only help new, I'll just say entrepreneurs, build.
Would this space on the application be used to say what you would probably use the funds for? Could you put that in there, sneak that in there?
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's
Okay.
going to make a difference, right? Because all that other stuff that we put on, it could be, yours is going to be similar to everybody else's. But yeah, and so I love it when they ask this question, because it really is like, why should we choose you? They didn't structure it that way, but that's really what this question is asking. Why should we choose you? Why is your thing any more important than anybody else's? So yes, so the importance of you getting this, because you're going to be able to use it to do X, Y, and Z, or it's going to make some sort of shift or change in your business, which is going to impact your life or other people's lives, whatever it is that you put. But yes, this is the time for that. All right, so just as a quickie, I just put we have a deep desire to not just help entrepreneurs build businesses. Yes, it's about building business, but I would make the case here that for us, it's also about helping you to be healthy and whole entrepreneurs, because we integrate wellness into everything we do. And so we want your entrepreneur life to be a healthier and a more well life than what you had as an employee. Because if not, you're going to go back to being an employee because you don't want to be stressed out. So I would use this to kind of craft something along that line. Then it says, what are your business's challenges that you're facing to grow your business? So what's your greatest challenge? So is it a lack of personal branding, a lack of a business brand or social media following? So this is where, and the other thing that you get from filling out these grants is this. You might, like, I might have just asked you before we started, well, what's your greatest challenge with your business? And you might have been like, oh, I don't know. Well, this kind of helps you see some of the things that you maybe aren't thinking about that you might need to start thinking about. So you might not have spent a lot of time thinking about social branding or social media and having a personal brand or a business brand. And when you look at this, you're like, oh, well, I don't have a business brand. Well, maybe I need to get one. And so that could be the thing that becomes a great need for you now. Finding the right marketing for your business. Marketing is always, an issue, and getting the right type, because you can waste money a lot of times on marketing. Finding more customers and your ideal customer. That's usually always a challenge for everybody, because you don't want to build a list and market towards people who aren't going to buy from you, which sometimes we all do on social media and other places. You got all these follows and likes and all this kind of stuff that's happening with social media. But if they're not buyers, who cares? You can have 1 million followers, but if they're not buying any of your stuff, they're not doing you any good. So working full time while running your business, is that one of the things where you're ready to make that shift and you need some additional money so you can go full time on the business? Building my business alone with no support, needing a team of people, because we can't do this alone. You might think you can, but you can't. So a lack of a network and community of fellow entrepreneurs. We talk about that all the time, that don't be sort of on this island unto yourself trying to do your business. So they give you a ton of things, cash flow issues, to buy inventory, needing team members. Your revenue went down because of COVID-19. You're not sure how to scale. They give you a lot to really think about. And so you can really look through this list and find one that fits you well. So I'm gonna go for finding the right marketing, just to choose one. Let's see. Your Facebook page. So again, they want to know they want to know, do you have a social media presence? And I think I remember ours / Good Karma Enterprises. Is that it? Okay. Twitter, we don't have, so let's see if it'll let you bump on. Yep. Instagram, I have Instagram personally, but not YouTube. We do have one, but we're going to bump over. Let's see what else. So how did you hear about it? So you go through, was it a Google search, email, was it an event? You could call it an event because it's this workshop. And then some legal information before submitting your application. And so again, if you win, they're going to want to publicize the fact that you won. So most of the legal information is always about promotional things. They're going to want to interview you. They're going to want to talk about what you did with the money. They're going to want your photo, all of those kinds of things. So you have to give permission for them to do this. So you do all of that. And then you just accept at the bottom and submit, and you're done. So again, that one took us about 15, 20 minutes to do that one. So not really that intense. It really is just having you think a little bit about your business. If you don't have some of those social media pieces, I wouldn't say you need all of them, but you need some of them. Like I said, we have Facebook and we have an Instagram. I just got to remember what it is. But get some kind of at least, one social media presence with that. So that's one that we, have sat here and filled out together. I'm going to pop over to the single mother one because I want you to just be able to see that one. So we're on the page for the Wealthy Single Mommy with Emma Johnson. And so on hers, I don't know if they have a deadline. Let's see, here it is. So the $500 monthly kick-ass single mom stimulus grant is what it's called. Qualifications are simple. She only has 2 things. You're a single mom and you need money right now.
Amen.
That's it. That's it. I love that. I'm like, she kept it real simple. Just those 2 things. And then here's the application to apply. So you put in your first name, last name, email, and the interesting thing is they PayPal you the money. So your PayPal email address is what they're looking for, the email address you use for that. Your phone, city, state, Again, here's the social media part, and that's why it's important. So they want to know, do you have Facebook or Instagram account? If so, what is it? The number of kids you have or other people in your house that you're responsible for. So you put that in, and then tell them what your job is and be specific. So if you're a stay-at-home mom full-time, then talk about what that is. If you work and are taking care of the kids and everything, then talk about that. So again, it's your opportunity to kind of really tell what it is that you do. And then, did you lose work because of COVID-19? Well, we know even if you worked outside of the house, the kids were in the house for a long period of time. So did that impact your work? If you were a stay-at-home mom, your whole world changed because the kids didn't go to school for 18 months and you were in there with them the entire time. So, looking at that, or maybe you had to now work from home with the kids, going to school from home, all of that. And then 2 sentences, and this, they make you be really concise. So 2 sentences on why you need the money now. That's it. Then you hit the submit button. And so the beautiful thing that I like about them is that they give you updates at the bottom for winners. So a single mom stimulus grant winners, they show you the people who have won. So Maria Delgado from Austin, Texas won. I think one of the ladies Wendy's was talking about for us is up here. Where are they? I saw it the other day. Here we go. Tanika Hunter from Baltimore won. So again, don't think that you won't, because you will. You just never know. You got to apply. And this one, like I said, it doesn't get any easier than this one. If you are a single mom for that one.
Do y'all know? Do you all know these people? This Emma
This-
lady.
No, we didn't. So what usually happens for us is that because I was doing grants, and so I researched, because it takes a lot of grant research for you to figure out when this stuff is popping up. And so I started in 2020. The research I was doing for us, I just started sharing it with other people and saying, okay, other people need to know, because some of the stuff I find, I can't, like, I'm not a single mom. I can't apply for this, but I know a lot of people who could. And so that's kind of what I started doing with it, was me just sharing it out and saying, hey, you're a single mom, here's this, here's that. So for some of these places, I don't know
somebody
them.
should write her so that she doesn't have the first and last name of these people and where they live on there.
Well, and that's true, because
I think it's
usually
a safety issue.
usually when I do anything, like if people give us testimonials or stuff, I'll put their first name and then last name as like an initial.
Right,
And
right.
so, yeah, it would be like Emily J. And so you
Yeah.
don't know, you could never figure out who
Right.
Emily J is.
Yeah, my cousin was
Um,
just in a like tuxedo contest, and I, passed it out for people to vote for her. But I told her mom she really should reach out, because they had like the kids' first name, last name, and the school they attend, and these are high school
Oh
students.
yeah, that
So
is,
it's
and
a safety
especially
issue.
now,
Right.
with just all the issues, that happen with various things now. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily want all the, you give a lot of information away. And that is something, to think about with you. And I think you probably could, once you won, say, listen, here's what I want. I'll agree for you to have my information, to share my story about winning, but I don't want my last name,
Right.
posted
Right.
on there. So that's what I would say to people. And that's a good thing to bring up. So in the Giving Joy one, this is an easier one. It's again micro grant, $250 to $500. And theirs is interesting because they give it to you in like 2 installments. So they give you $250, and then they'll give you the other $250 when you deliver or do whatever it is you said you're going to do. So for whatever project it is. So this one is good if you wanted to, like, for your organization, if you wanted to start some kind of particular project. So this person again, and theirs is international. So she's, doing chicken farming. This one is Chicago Children's House, another international one. So they also give you previous grantees. Here's a mentoring one that someone did their application for. So their application is pretty simple too. Oh, here it is. It's at the top. So you just click on the apply today. They have key dates. So remember, a lot of these things have deadlines to them. So their current grant cycle started in July and it ends December 2021. And they don't give you, or December 31st. So you have to make sure by December 31st that you have applied if you're going to apply. And then their award date, they let you know by January 30th. And so their application is pretty simple too. It's just first name, last name, phone number, address, zip code, website again. So we all know Instagram, that's an important thing that a lot of people are asking. They want to know, who are you? Who are you? What is it that you're doing? And why is it that you're doing it? What's your business organization or your idea? So again, this one works for startups. You can be a startup and get this one. What social benefit or impact does your business organization have? So you see that theirs, and you can see by their name, Giving Joy. They want to know, how are you having an impact on somebody else other than yourself, or on, you know, other entrepreneurs, if that's what you do, on mothers, on people in general. But you've got to, you know, let them know what impact you're having. If awarded the grant, what would you do with these funds? We know that's a common question, so you got to think about that in advance. And then how would the grant benefit your business or organization and your beneficiaries, such as your target audience or customers, if you were to get this money? So how is it going to help you and your customers? Let's see. Why should we select you in your project? So again, selling yourself. How did you hear about them, and anything else you would like for us to know? So, and submit the application. So simple, same types of questions. And so what I'm saying about the filling out of the grant applications is, once you do this for one or two of these grants, you pretty much, it's a cut and paste process that you can do. So that's how you can submit 10, 15, 20 of these and not feel overwhelmed, is because once you start to build your template of information in a Word document, you have it to be able to do for any of these grant. And remember, yep, it's a numbers game. So you've got to do more than one or two in order to be able to get the benefit from it. And then I'm gonna go over to the very last one, the newest one that just came out, and that's the Fast Break for Small Business, because I want to talk to you a little bit, thank you, about just extra stuff that you might want to have. So those grants are pretty simple. They're straightforward once you start filling them out. And what you can do is just what I did with that one. I didn't hit the submit button because there's some stuff that I know I need to kind of clean up. So you can sort of go get their template and start filling in your information before you actually do it on the site. So you make sure you have all the stuff together that you need to have. So this one with LegalZoom and the NBA is a $10,000 grant. So remember, I told you sometimes the timeline can be fast. So it just opened October 14th and it's going to close on November 23rd. So not even a full 30 days is it open. So this one, you have to start getting your stuff together. So for being ready to apply, you have to be based in the United States, which we are, must have been in business at least 6 months. So if you're a new startup business, less than 6 months old, this one wouldn't work for you. If you're 6 months or more, you can be in. You must have an annual revenue of less than 1 million. So for most of us, that's not a problem in a year. So you should be good for that. And you must not be in one of these prohibited industry. And so most of the time, prohibited industries are like alcohol, gambling, lottery, those kinds of things. But you can click on the list and sort of see what their prohibited industries are. So then it says you must submit one of the following. No, not one, you must submit the following. So they're asking you for some documentation for theirs, which this is again on the more complicated end. So your most recent business tax return, if your business is 12 months old or older. So one of the things as businesses is we have to stop being afraid of sharing our tax returns and things like that. It's just what happens. if you get a loan, if you get a grant, a
Donald Trump said we ain't showing our taxes to nobody. Get that stuff. No, you ain't get mad.
And then I'm not even gonna talk about how he got his money, but
Right.
I'm not even gonna talk about that.
Trump
But
like, I got
it's
you. I'm just
one of-
teasing.
No, but it's true because a lot
Right.
of people will say not just him, but a lot of small businesses that we work with, they be like, "Oh no, I'm not showing it." But I'm like, "Well, okay." Then you're cutting yourself off. Like you can never get a loan because they're
Yeah.
gonna ask you for that information. So I was like, in larger grants, they want to know sometimes the tax return, not so much, but at least your profit and loss statement. Like they want to know, is your business generating money? How are you handling your finances? And that's the way I always explain it to people is this: who's going to entrust you with thousands of dollars, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars, but you don't want to show how you keep your books? Nobody's going to give you that much. Again, Emma Johnson and those people that are only giving you $500, yeah, they'll be fine with it. But anybody else that's giving you thousands of dollars, no, they want to know, are you, good with keeping your finances? Do you have some kind of system in place? Are you behind in your taxes? Are you evading tax? Those kinds of things. So your business license or sole proprietor formation documents, if you're a sole proprietor, front and back copies of your business owner's government issued ID. So again, they want to know, are you who you say you are? All pages of your most recent bank statement. And well, here's what you can do with this kind of stuff is your bank statement should have only the last 4 digits. If for some reason it has more than that, you white out the other portion of it if it has all of the digits. So there is sometimes where you can submit the documents, but you just, white out things that you don't necessarily, that you feel like aren't relevant. A completed W-9 for the business so that they can be able to get you the money, and then an ACH form so that they can then make the bank transfer to your bank. And so for most of these, again, when you're doing them, I tell everybody to always do your due diligence. But this is, it's typical to ask for this kind of information when you're getting loans and or grants from larger organizations. But what you can always do is kind of do your due diligence to see who is it that I'm giving this information to. So again, that LegalZoom is a name we all know. Of course, the NBA is a name that we all know. So it's not somebody like Emma Johnson that's totally unknown, that's foreign. That they're larger corporations that are offering larger amounts of money. So any of them that you do, do a little background if you feel uncomfortable with supplying any of that information. All right, so those are the ones. I don't want to have us go too much over an hour. We still have, again, you have an entire list. So I'm going to stop the share and pick up my other screen right quick. All right, so we did several of these. Of course, in an hour, I knew we couldn't do all of these, but you have all of them. So you have the ability to be able to look at them and figure out which ones will work for you. And, keep up with us and let us know which ones will work for you. If you decide that you're like, okay, this grant thing is my jam, I think I can do this, I can sort of get in this and be all in, and I want to know. I have a team of people that help me do the research. I still do some of it because I just like doing it myself. But I have a team of people who are constantly sort of scouring to find the grants that are available, because the issue with the grant game is that you got to be on it when it comes out type of a deal. So we have a really inexpensive service that we offer called Grant Share, where we do text message blasts. So we send you a text message twice a week, usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I think is when she does them. And so for 6 months, it's $49. You get grant alerts, and we just tell you whichever ones we find. And so we send them to you with the link. You can look at them and say yay or nay, that type of thing. But if doing the research and that type of thing is not your jam and you don't want to spend hours on end, which I understand because it can be time consuming sitting around looking for all this stuff. So we do it by text message, and then usually I will email out like a giant list every month too, so that people have it kind of as an email list. So a couple of things. What's your next step? I always ask people, what I do these workshops, and it's great information, and you can take this and sort of make some headway using practical steps. But I always ask you, what's your next step, in the sense of you got to have some kind of action after you get information. And we can do 1,000 workshops and webinars and that kind of stuff, but if you don't ever have some action after it, then you just spend a lot of time learning, but not enough time doing. And you got to combine the learning with the doing. So possible next steps that you could have, if you're not in our Black Women Entrepreneurs Academy, then definitely join a Facebook group. That's where we put most of the information like this. I'm constantly loading in there as soon as I know stuff. Then I'll put information in there. So you could definitely do that. We have an opportunity. Well, I'm going to flip around a little bit. Strategy session. If you decide, okay, I'm kind of into this, or I just want, get some information or some help, or, have me to sort of bounce ideas off of, or get some clarity around your business and sort of the direction you're going and what you need to do to create those multiple streams of income, then you can always schedule a strategy session with me. We can sit one-on-one together. It says 45 minutes, but usually it's never that short. But we sit down together and really kind of help you get clear on where you're going and what you want to do. I already talked about grant sharing. If you feel like I got enough structure and everything together, and I want to just get funding, I want to go straight to funding, and you want to look at loans and things like that are available, then we have the Good Karma funding side. So I'd be happy to talk to you about that side as well. If you're here in Hawaii, there is an opportunity that we have coming up for women to get together and work on their businesses. Sometimes we get so busy working in the business that we don't take time to step back and really kind of plan and work on the business so that we can grow and scale it. And so on November 5th, we are having the first one here in Hawaii, our Sister CEO Circle, where we get a small group of women who come together who really do want to spend some time deeply working on their business and figuring out, either this is my idea and I need a plan for 2022 to take this thing to fruition and get it done, or I'm already in business. This is the business that I have, and I want to come up with a plan as to how I can grow and scale this. I need to be able to add, I'm in a business and I'm only making, $3,000 a year, and that's not cutting it. And I want to be making a whole lot more than that. And so what we do is, again, it'll be less than, look like it's going to be probably less than 8 women that will, because right now, Wendy, we have 4 of us that are going to be there. So we'll sit down. We're looking for, again, a couple more. We'll sit down together during that 8-hour Saturday. Everybody will have an opportunity to where your business will be front and center. We'll be working specifically with you on your business, whatever the issue is. So I'm going to give you a little thing to fill out in advance. So you tell us, again, what are your pain points? What's your struggle? What do you need for your business? What do you feel like? Is it marketing? Is it finding your ideal customer? Is it just the setup of the business and just, getting all the foundation together? What is it funding? What is it that you want to work on? And then we help you to put together all the pieces that you need. Give you an example, when we were doing this in Baltimore, sometimes people would come and just be like, I've been trying to get a website for like a year and I still don't have a website, or I paid somebody and they didn't do whatever. And so we have set, the last time we did this back in the spring before we left, I sat down with the lady right now and we did her website, where I was like, there is no need for like over a year trying to get a website. We can get you a 1-page website up today before you leave. So let's start working on that. So that's kind of what the experience is like, but it gives you a tribe to work with all year long, because the idea is that we're sticking together. We're starting now to plan for 2022, but then we're going to rock together all of 2022. so that it's a collective. So if it's February and you're like, oh my God, this is falling apart and it's not working, then you can call us, leverage the collective, and we're going to help you through whatever. So it gives you that tribe of women CEOs to be able to have as a close community to help you on your journey as an entrepreneur.
And you get a business bestie.
Right. So it's one of those things where I always say I create things I wish I had for myself. When I was doing this 15, 20 years ago, I was like, dude, there's nobody, like I had no family members who were entrepreneurs. I had no friends who were entrepreneurs. And I was like, how does this thing, but I worked it out and I figured it out, but there's no need to do that if you don't have to do that. So the Sister
it
CEO
says,
Circle.
the per quarter is the one meeting you have. Is there some engagement during the quarter other than that one meeting?
Yes, there is engagement that we have every month.
Okay.
So because we can't leave, so you know how, again, this quarter started in October, started this month. And so you might be doing some planning, but you know how life happens and you get busy or whatever. And then you look up and you're like, oh, it's December, it's the end of the quarter. And I didn't do any of the things that I was supposed to do. So that's why Wendy mentioned, one, you get paired up with a business bestie that you guys are going to stay in close contact with each other all throughout the quarter. But then as the collective, we're also going to meet once a month. So we're going to come on Zoom, we're going to meet once a month. And we're going to talk about the progress that we're making. So if you run into some problem or issue, let's say we came up with a marketing plan for you and, we've laid out kind of all the pieces you're supposed to be doing. And you decide, oh, I got, scared or whatever, and I didn't do my videos. Then we're going to encourage you, to be able to do that. We're going to set somebody up to do a video with you. That's an example of one of the things we did. Wendy got on with the lady because video was what she wanted to do for her marketing plan, because we knew it was going to help her grow her business, but she's scared to get on live. So Wendy went on live with her. So that, and Wendy can talk up live like nobody's business. So she went on live with her. But it gave her that sense of comfort to where she was like, oh, okay, I can do this. I really can do it. So Wendy helped her set up the cameras, everything she needed just to use her phone to be able to do it simply, but she just needed that extra, little push. So
and we have a Sister CEO Facebook group just for members of your cohort.
Right. So each time it's not old people, it's only the people that are involved now, because we want to keep it fresh with just like those who are involved. And so, Denitra, one of the things I've been thinking and playing around with, and I think I am going to throw it out, is doing a virtual version of this where, I'm just trying to figure out how we do the deep dive into your business on Zoom and have it still have that much value for you. Because that's what I want. I want you to really be able to work on the business. And then, like, I'm used to doing it in person where we spend all day together. And I'm like, on
so
Zoom,
I think it's I think a Zoom is still an idea. I mean, you would need to commit to a day. I mean,
well, and that's so let's just play this out for a second.
Sure.
On Zoom, would you want to spend like all day on Zoom, or would you want to do, like, let's say if it's a weekend thing and we do like a couple hours, like maybe 4 hours on Saturday, 4 hours on Sunday or something?
Yeah, so those are some options. Definitely need to break them up. So in the business I'm in, when we do our trainings, we limit them to 3 hours.
Yeah,
right?
That's what I was thinking, because that's a lot of time to be in front of the
3 hours,
computer.
and we keep you engaged the whole time. In each hour, there's a break. But when you think about somebody like me who's way in Tennessee, would love to be in Hawaii, once a quarter. But would be interested in something like this, but would need to figure out how to make it practical, even if it's not. That's why I asked about the additional support, even if it's not, 6 hours in one day. My quarter may be that I do, 3 hours this Saturday, skip a Saturday, and then we come back together another Saturday, and do 3 hours. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean group. Like you may have a group that's every other
Right.
week.
Right.
That are Zoom. You're committed to it on a Zoom. I've been doing a lot with Zoom and online because that's what's available right now. It makes it more
Mm-hmm.
cost effective as
Right.
well, rather than the travel expense. And so yeah, this sounds good. Got some ideas I'm working on with the husband, and um, I never wanted to be an entrepreneur at all. So it kind of found me because I'm still doing the Airbnb in Memphis, although
Right.
it's not we're having a hard time finding a contractor right now to build it back because it was destroyed in February. So
Oh,
um, we just haven't been able to get a general contractor in there.
right.
But I didn't go looking for that. It just kind of supply and demand happened, and so
Right.
I
And
submitted
sometimes
to.
it does. Sometimes that's how it's not like you are searching for something, but it just comes to you and you're like, oh, I can do this
Yeah,
type of a thing. Yeah.
yeah.
And
We've been
so,
talking about some health and wellness stuff too with keto. I've been doing some exploring with carnivore um, way of eating, and so yeah, just who knows where all of this stuff is going to take us. I'm just kind of open to the process.
Mm-hmm.
And I got, help and support with my husband. So, it's not just ideas in my brain right now. It's, having somebody that we can, try to build and do some things together.
Right, right, definitely. All right,
and
so
the
we'll
other
have to, you've motivated me now to think it through in an online format because I've been thinking about it. I'm like, oh, I don't know how that would work, but yeah, I'm gonna have to think that through.
But the other thing with the online piece, with being on Zoom, to keep it fresh and interesting, we can always do breakout rooms. So
Mhm.
where you
True.
get to, interact with just a couple of people at a time with an assignment, right? Where
Mhm.
we can then, pop in and out of the breakout rooms, and vice versa, maybe doing some networking via breakout rooms, and learning how to sell your business. I think that's is a big piece. Knowing one, who your business is, who you are as the owner operator of that business, and then how you show up in the
Mhm.
world as that owner operator of that
Mhm.
business. So I think the breakout rooms would actually really help with breaking up the monotony, and with us all just like being sharing one space, but we can all share separate spaces.
And to your point, Wendy, where you talked about having a business bestie, that's a good opportunity too for the breakout room,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if
Yep.
you and your bestie are here together, y'all come back to the whole group at a point, share out, go back out, into your group. So I think they're all great ideas.
Okay.
And I think they're doable. I mean, whenever I'm like talking to my husband about, the power of Facebook, I always talk to him about the Black Girls Keto 2 group, you know what I mean? Like how many thousands of um women are there.
65,000.
Yeah, that are there. So I don't know when you all are going to be ready to tap into that with some of these other ideas. You got to be ready though, right? You got to be ready for that because it's going to be an overflow. I went to this little real estate class that this lady does, and after it, people were like, "Hey, we want to stay together." So I created this group. I think it's called Sassy Synergy something something. It's like 3 S. And I mean, by the end of a week, I had probably 1,000 people in the Facebook group, and so I try to, put stuff in there from time to time. And it's mostly around that's what it was, short-term rental.
Oh,
And the power of, being a short-term renter because I mean, it's the only way to go in real estate at this point. I mean, there's no need to ever do LTR. It's really not even a read. If you can get the right property, there's not a reason to even do flipping houses no more. I made last year in the summertime alone at my house in Memphis just the summertime close to like $16,000-$17,000. It stayed rented every day. And I mean, it was like right in the middle of the pandemic, but people, that's one of the reasons why they weren't going to hotels. You know, I had grandparents
Mhm.
who had, you know, grandkids all across the country, you know, and they were able to bring all of their grandkids to one place. You know,
Oh.
I've done retreats there. It's to me, if you're gonna be in real estate in terms of investing, it's definitely the way to go. I helped a lady in Texas. We met in a Dave Ramsey group. We met, and she was not doing Airbnb because she thought it was like basically a hoax and that Black people really weren't able to get into it. So
Weren't
she
doing
was
it.
like,
Yep.
right. So she was like, you know, is this Airbnb thing for real? My husband and I have a piece of property in Texas. You know, we are just about to put a long-term rental. So I inboxed her and told her, I was like, yes, you do not want to go long-term rental. You know, Airbnb has a referral thing. So if ever y'all decide y'all want to do it, let me know. I'll send y'all my link so I can get the referral. But anyway,
Mhm.
I helped her get it all set up. She's running it. I think I made like $300 for her referral when she had her first guest there. I walked her through how to do her, you know, the type of stuff to buy. Like you don't have to have fancy stuff. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta have clean stuff and
Mhm.
Good
able to be
quality
clean.
stuff,
Mhm.
That's
right?
it. That's it.
Yeah.
And so,
You know
if
what?
ever,
You know what,
mhm,
Denitra, as you're talking, like, so just as I built Black Girls Keto too, you can totally build a whole thing around the short-term rental type of deal where you can have multiple streams of income, just like I do with Black Girls Keto too.
mhm,
And that, like that's a huge thing
mhm,
to work out, and it won't take a lot of doing. It's just a, you know,
mhm,
of getting a blueprint of how you would like lay it out and then scale it, because it's a huge thing,
yeah,
especially as a woman owned entrepreneur, and also where you can be certified as a woman owned business and get, you know, contracting and things like that. It's huge. It's people here in Hawaii who does it on a different level too. So yeah, that's really cool.
Well, and I
yeah,
just, as you were talking, came up with an idea for us to partner, because to grow and so maybe we could bring it all full circle as a joint project, to grow the knowledge base of the Black Women Entrepreneurs Academy. I don't want it to just be my voice, to just be Wendy's voice, because we have
mhm,
expertise in certain areas, but not
mhm,
every area. So
right,
just hearing you just give those examples right now, right there, like I already know a whole group of people who want to know more about short-term rentals, about
mhm,
Airbnb specifically, and how they can get into Airbnb. And I've been looking around. I didn't realize I knew you did it, but I didn't
mhm.
realize like the level of knowledge that you have with it.
Oh
So
yeah.
after this, I would love to have a conversation about you coming into the academy as one of our guest experts
Oh
around
sure.
this particular thing, and then seeing what we can put together as a package to offer people,
Okay.
on the education side. So again, and
Absolutely.
this is what I'm talking about, how when we get together, this is what happens. It's like we
Right.
leverage each other to be like, hey, wait a second, we got a resident expert right here in Airbnb. And what you said was so important, because a lot of Black people still do think that Airbnb is not a thing, that is something
Mhm.
either that white people do, or it's not for us, or it's not really real, or
Mhm.
nobody want to rent your house, like that kind of stuff. And we're like, no, it's just like the same thing with me and Turo. Like I'm going to do a short course on Turo, because we got here and I looked at the car market and I knew of it before and had, thought about using it before when we were in Maryland. But then when I got here, I was like, oh, wait, this is like a captive audience. And I was like, wait, I don't really have to, like, it's going to take even less work here because everybody is just coming through the airport. So I don't have to do
Mhm.
anything with this car except for deliver it to the airport. And so when we got here, we bought another car, just for that purpose. And
Yeah.
so that car you know, is gone. I mean, the most I do, and like I said, it's an island. I drive back and forth what 15 minutes that it takes me to get to the airport, drop the thing off when they're coming in a week later when they're done, because most people are here a week. You know, you don't really come here and just do a couple of days. So,
What's the
you
rate
know,
for a week, Tanya?
what's the rate? Where's
Right
my
now
phone?
it's like $56 a week.
A
Right now
day.
it
Yeah.
fluctuates a
It's
day.
on the low end because at one point we were between 75 and like a little over 100 a day.
Okay.
When it was right before he stopped
When it was
tourism.
desperate. Right.
Yeah, but right before he was like, okay, y'all gotta stop coming here in what, August that was? Yeah, so for September. So it's been, the price dropped down a little bit for September and October because tourism slowed. But now he's opening things back up starting November. So
Okay.
now I'm getting like a lot more bookings and it stays. I mean, it's funny. One of our friends, they were like, oh, y'all have the second, or our barber. She was like, you, whose car is that? And we were like, oh, that's the work car. And we were like, she stays out on assignment. And so she kind of looked at us. She was like, what do you mean? And we were like, because we had her that day, so we were using that car. And so we were like, oh, she has a job. She works every day, you know. And we're
I
like,
love
weeks
it.
at a time. Old girl is out doing her thing and
I mean,
making
she
money.
be on a host roll. She is out
That's what's
there.
up. That's the same way the Airbnb was. It put me out.
Exactly.
I could
Yeah.
no longer afford to live in the
Be in your,
Airbnb.
there
I
you
had to go
go.
because I was initially just trying to rent it through the week, and I would, when I would come home from work, it was perfect. My son wasn't there, so I was able to rent it out. So it got so I was gone so much and trying to find places to stay, so I could rent it out. Like I'm not gonna give up this 175 a night, right? Like over my mama's house, over my friend's house. So I rented an apartment, and literally when I moved completely out of it, and I never used my master bedroom, I always kept it locked. I was making 175 a night.
Wow.
It was taking care of itself and taking care of where I was living.
Exactly. And
So
that's what that car does, you know, because people talk about how expensive it is to live here and whatnot. And so, you know, again, I'm always like that multiple stream. Like, yeah, we have multiple streams, but when we get to Hawaii, what streams can we add? And so,
yeah,
you know, when we added that, I was like, that takes care because we're renting now until we find a place we want to buy. And so I was like, oh, that takes care of the rent here, you know, for
yeah,
us. So we don't have to worry about that. And now we have money freed up, you know, our money to do other things with. So it's this very conversation right here and helping people to see that it's just us. We're
yeah.
everyday, average, ordinary women who are doing these kinds of things. And just like you said, just one Airbnb rental can shift, you know, some
I
people's
mean, it helps me
life
on
and
taxes
finances.
tremendous. Helps me
Yeah.
on taxes tremendously. It actually saves me. But yeah, I'm trying to get it back up and running. And something else, Wendy, you and I talked before about, even like Black Girls Keto to Retreat, So even the Airbnb there right now, without using my master, I was able to sleep 10 people. I can sleep 16 once I get include the
Mm-hmm.
master in there. So
Right.
yeah, we got
Okay.
some ideas and some
Yeah, we
stuff
do. We
in a
definitely will
couple
have
of
to talk.
in a
See, now
couple
you
of
have to come into Hawaii so we can have a planning session.
I know,
yeah
right?
that my husband would love it. We've talked about that's one on the list for him. I've been that's one on the list for him is for us to do. As a matter of fact, we're looking for somewhere over the Thanksgiving break to go where it's hot. So maybe Hawaii will be it.
Okay.
We were just talking about somewhere we could go that would be warm. So maybe that'll be. We talked about Puerto Rico. He wants to go to Puerto
Yeah.
Rico.
I still have mad love for Puerto Rico.
Yes,
I do. I
yes. I
just
know
do.
that y'all had that on the radar. I
Yep.
reached out to Molly not long ago. I can't think why I was trying to go there. It must have been me and Sam. That's my husband's name is Sam. We must have been looking into going, but we,